Barrasso, Dave Andreychuk, and Mike Foligno. Montreal with Bobby Smith, Chris Nyland, and the veteran and team captain Bob Gainey. The Canadiens and the Sabres, third meeting of the season. And the Canadiens have dominated in recent meetings here in Memorial Auditorium. Here's Chris Nyland, number 30. He was checked, and Bobby Smith, number 15, flips it in with Hanno Berta, number 3, back for the Sabres. Over onto the left wing boards to Andreychuk. He fires it up the middle, missing Foligno with the pass, and the puck goes all the way down the ice. Robinson back to get it, and that's an icing call against Buffalo. The Canadiens have really had the Sabres number here in Memorial Auditorium of late.
A free face-off against Lucien Deblois, just off the injury list.
Normally a winger, but playing at center ice. Here's Mike Ramsey around on the boards, and the Sabres then clear it out onto the wing. Now to Tucker at center, number 7. Tucker to Lindy Ruff. His shot hit Chelios and bounced to the corner. Chelios knocking it over on the boards. Alcides knocks it in for Buffalo. Now Sear behind the net, unable to center. Tucker takes a hit, but cleared it to Sear. Over onto the left wing side, picking it up is Mike Lawler for Montreal. Couldn't clear it. Here's Tucker to Ruff. He missed it. Now Ramsey at the point. His shot blocked. Deblois couldn't clear it. Here's Tucker shooting one, and a stick save there by Sotard, the Montreal goaltender. Sear trying to center. And then it's cleared out of there by number 38 for the Canadiens, Mike Lawler. Back to get it is Ramsey. And an icing call against Montreal. Brad Park, I heard you say down in the press room, Montreal could win this game if they can get through the first 5 minutes, and we just saw perhaps what you meant.
Oh, or because there's the games you have to win.
Here's Guy Carbonneau against Gilbert Perreault. Perreault winning the draw to Berta. Shooting one. That bounced off Carbonneau. Now they score! Andreychuk got the rebound after the shot had been blocked. And Dave Andreychuk gives Buffalo an early lead.
Well, Andreychuk just picking up a rebound. It came off a defenseman. We'll take a look at it right from the faceoff now as the puck is cleared by Perreault as he controlled it nicely against Carbonneau. Here's the shot. The rebound just came down at the feet of Andreychuk. Picked it up and fired it in. Nothing Sotard could do very quickly. It unfolds. Take a look at it again, Brad.
We have to watch here for Guy Carbonneau because both himself and Bob Gainey went to the point, enabling Andreychuk to get loose.
Now back to the live action in Buffalo. The Sabres clear it in. And Rick Green, who's been the steadiest of the Montreal defense corps, according to Perron this year, feeds it out to Carbonneau. Now over to Craig Ludwig, who shoots it in. Chris Nyland took the pass, but that's all these Buffaloes have this year. But he gets them into a 1-0 lead here. He's third best to this date in goals. Foligno with 12, Perreault with 10, and now Andreychuk with 9. So they expect him, as Ron Roos points out, to be even more productive. Now it's Ryan Walter for Montreal. Got it to center. Rick Sealing intercepts that and fires it in. Sotard clearing it around on the boards. Held in by Larry Playfair with a shot. Bouncing near the goal. Poked at, and a save made by Sotard on the tip at the side of the goal by Gates Orlando. Now it's Chris Nyland holding it in, but cleared out of there by Bill Height. Here's Playfair. To Gilles Hamel. He's checked from behind. Good defensive play by Bobby Smith, number 15. Smith dumps it in. And number 24, Height, back to get it for the Sabres. Bill Height leaves it, intercepted by Bobby Smith. Smith put it in front, but that's intercepted and cleared by Orlando. Got it by Robinson. And Matt Naslund, number 26, back to get it. Now Swoboda giving it to Robinson. He knocks it near the Buffalo line. Playfair loses. Here's Lucien Deblois shooting one. And a stick save by Barrasso on Deblois' 50-footer. Bill Height back to get it. Height over on the boards to Gilles Hamel. Hamel, number 9. Dropping it to Playfair. Now to Tucker. He missed that. And it's Chelios for the Canadiens. Rink wide as it's flipped to center to Deblois. Naslund hit him. Now Chelios in across the line to Naslund, cutting in. Missed by about a foot with a low wrist shot. Mats Naslund, who came from nowhere, as he quite often does. And now Buffalo clear it into the center ice area. Canadiens coming right back. Naslund taken out, and Sear comes right back for the Sabres. Number 18, Sear over to Lindy Ruff. He missed that. And then it's Deblois knocking it back to center, and number 19, Bob Alcides, moves in for the Sabres. Nikitas is checked. And breaking away, Montreal on the attack again, in across the line, but they go offside. Sergio Momesso, number 36, on one wing, and McPhee, second-year man, on the other wing. Number 35, this is McPhee. Got it to the Sabre line, knocked down by Playfair, trying to set up Orlando. Now Hamel trying to knock it in, and here's Rick Sealing. Taken out by Ludwig. Sealing gets it in, and then it's cleared out of there by number 38, Mike Lawler. Flipped back in by Height for Buffalo. And here's Rick Green, number 5, for the Canadiens. Green, a nice little play, feeding it up the middle, and Strudlin, number 39, feeds Momesso, shooting off the blocker of the goaltender Barrasso, and up over the glass, and then a little pushing match in behind the Sabre goal.
Well, Momesso, a big, strong kid who played in Shawinigan last year in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Nobody expected him to make this team, and it's getting a little more than just some pushing and shoving right here as McPhee finally has the last say, and Strudland also moves in there, number 39, but they'll break it up now and get started. Still the top offensive player on this hockey team.
35 years of age and going strong is Perreault. Here's Andreychuk, who got the game's first goal, dumping it in. Foligno put it in front of the open net, but Robinson was there for Montreal. Now Andreychuk, number 25 for Buffalo. Puts it for Foligno. Swoboda cleared it. Here's Perreault to Foligno. Mike Foligno, number 17, takes a hit from Swoboda. He'll get a penalty here. Now Andreychuk on the delayed penalty. Into Foligno. 6 attackers for Buffalo on the delayed penalty. Over to the point. Now into the corner to Tucker. Back to Berta. His shot blocked. Berta gets it again. Into Perreault. Centered one. The Canadiens have to get possession before play will be stopped. Here's Foligno. Over to Hanu Berta. Back to Dykstra, number 4. And now Montreal will get possession. Dahlin getting the puck, and now the penalty to
elbow up as he charged in there. And for elbowing at 5:25, the Canadiens, who have not had a good penalty killing record early in the season, is one of the worst in the league, as a matter of fact, although it's been much better in the last 10 games. And now they face a pretty good power play on the part of Buffalo.
Sabres with the 16th best power play in the league, 21 goals and 18.4 percentage. But the personnel, you would think, would make it better than that. Here is Tucker trying to center one to Andreychuk. Back on the point to Housley. That shot blocked by Carbonneau. And the Canadiens' Bob Gainey comes up with it, and Gainey fires it down the ice.
Speak of personnel, how about that personnel the Canadiens in terms of penalty killers send out? You'd think they would be better with a Carbonneau and a Gainey out there.
Ludwig and Green on defense. Here is Phil Housley for the Sabres to the veteran Perreault, number 11. Checked by Ludwig. Andreychuk drops to Housley. And then tipped away by Gainey. And the Sabres have to go back. Phil Housley, number 6. 1 minute left in the Canadiens' penalty to Swoboda. Pass to number 22, Lindy Ruff. He dumps it in. Jill Hamel missed it on the boards. Housley at the point for Buffalo. Into the corner. Now back on the point now back on the right wing side as the shot goes off a stick. Lindy Ruff let it go. And that hit Soltard's stick and go into the crowd, or a defenseman's stick.
Got the stick down, and he just deflected up. Here's been one of the
draw to Housley. Number 6, Phil Housley. Into Tucker. Ludwig takes him out. Andreychuk got it. Now Andreychuk knocked down, but dropped it to Housley. Here's Tucker to Dave Andreychuk. Andreychuk centered, deflected, and it just went wide. Housley let it go, and it deflected. Now Perreault at the point. Couldn't hold it in. And Bob Gainey comes up with the puck. Over to Carbonneau, number 21. Carbonneau for the Canadiens. Checked by Tucker, and then Foligno comes back to get it. Here's Mike Foligno. Penalized player Swoboda is now back on. The Canadiens break it up, shoot at the center, and Orlando drops it back to Mike Ramsey. Now to Andreychuk, who shot it in, and the Canadiens are back. And here's Chelios leaving it for Robinson. Robinson flipping it into the Buffalo zone, and the Sabres fire it over to Mike Ramsey. Ramsey got it to center. Robinson to Chelios. Chris Chelios for Montreal losing it. Here's Gates Orlando. He couldn't get anywhere, and Devlois feeds Naslett. Glove save Barrasso. And he sets it up for number 19, Bob Halkitis. Trying to clear it. Chelios shoots one. That's blocked by Halkitis, who fell in front of it. Now Orlando, as the Sabres are in trouble in their own zone. Devlois, good forechecking to Naslund. Centered, just tipped away by Halkitis at the last second, and then the puck goes down the ice. The Canadiens had a man wide open in front of the net there.
The Mavs trying to make that extra play.
Number 19, the rookie Halkitis. Over to the veteran Bill Height. Flipping it ahead, Sean McKenna beaten to the puck by Chelios. And here's Mario Tremblay. Ahead to Naslund, who tips it in. Barrasso tipping it into the corner to Height. Buffalo leading this game 1-0. Here's McKenna. Fell as he got out of the zone, and Smith takes over for Montreal. Back to Ludwig. Now at center for Shell Dahlin, who flipped it in. Digging in is Smith. Smith centered off of Ryan Walter to Green. A drive. He fired that just wide. Now Dahlin, but Hamel takes over for the Sabres. To McKenna, back to Hamel. Winding up in a drive right on Sotard. Made a stick save and then smothered it. It's Buffalo leading 1-0 here in the first period. This is the NHL.
On played the most games of his career last year, 77. This year, however, he had an ankle injury early on.
Montreal trailing in the game 1-0. Sabres center to Perreault. He couldn't handle a pass, and Gainey gives it to Carbonneau. Sliding it ahead to Chris Nyland. Hustling back is the Buffalo defenseman Dykstra, now to Berta, and Berta feeds Foligno. Look at Carbonneau come back to break it up. He gives it to Rick Green. Rink wide now to Robinson, who shot it out, and Dykstra fires it back in for Buffalo, and that's called on an offside.
Now Larry Robinson needs just 2 points to reach the 700 plateau.
I wish I had a bonus for some of those.
I'm sure you did.
I never had an offensive bonus.
Here's Nyland dumping it in. Berta back to get it. Berta cleared up the center. Now we have a scrap going. Nyland is into it. Landed a couple of stiff right hands against the Buffalo player Dykstra. Steve Dykstra.
I think he's got his hand full as Dykstra. Nyland, of course, noted for his ability to scrap, but he has landed almost all of the punches here. But now Dykstra's coming back a little bit.
He landed that one.
And Nyland protects himself. You notice that he's not. He never really presents a good target when he's in a fight. And he managed to land most of the punches, the clean one.
So Nyland and Steve Dykstra to the penalty box. This is the NHL on.
Pull it off out there, and everybody else will play full strength. John Perron taking notes. I wonder about what.
Here's Bob Gainey for Montreal, dropping it to Swoboda at the point. A shot. Barrasso saw it at the last second and got a piece of it, and now Foligno cleared it out to Andreychuk, who dumps it in for Buffalo. Number 25, the young defenseman Swoboda. Dropped it. Robinson was there. He dropped it right into the goal crease. Now it's Gainey to Carbonneau. Andreychuk knocks that down. And Swoboda over to Robinson. Long pass to Gainey, intercepted by Foligno. And now Momesso, number 36, got to center. Bumped on the play by Halkitis. And then Foligno flipped it in for Buffalo. This is Robinson. Dropping it in behind the goal. And Swoboda gives it to Larry Robinson. Up the middle to Carbonneau. He dumps it in. Barrasso leaving it for Mike Ramsey, number 5. Into forecheck for Montreal is Momesso. Now it's cleared out onto the boards. And pinching in for Montreal is Momesso. The forecheck centered. Naslund shot. Barrasso a save there. Naslund got that away in a hurry. Now Tucker clearing it for Halkitis. Headmanning it to Lindy Ruff. Ruff trying to go around Chelios, who took him out. And now Lallard. He's checked. Here's Ruff. Into the corner. Now Lallard for Montreal trying to get it to Naslund. Held in by Halkitis. Gets it into the corner. Here's Ruff. He's taken out of the play on a tough check by Lallard. And now Lallard has the Buffalo player pinned in against the boards. It's Ruff, and Ruff has landed a couple of right hands.
Well, first of all, there's going to be a penalty to Ruff to start with. The hand went out on the initial check. Now, what happens here, I don't know, but you can see that Lallard is just trying to get he got a hand underneath the pants of rough and upended him, and that'll end the fight. The linesmen are allowed to get in. We'll see what eventually comes of this, but I think there might be an extra 2 minutes go in all of the skirmishing.
Let's go to Dan Matheson right here.
On our out-of-town score.
Holding to Rupp, and then Majors to Lawler and Rupp for fighting. 11:29 the time. And the Canadiens coach, 38-year-old Jean Perron, looking on. So a chance here for Montreal on the power play, and they're right at the head of the class when it comes to power play production.
Not very often you see a 30% power play, Dan, but the two Swedes are the key to it. Mats Naslund and Kjell Dahlin, the rookie, has just been outstanding, and he's doing a great job. He's a very smart hockey player. You can watch him on this power play to see what I mean. 30 power play goals for the Canadiens, a 30.9 percentage. As Naslund gives it to Dahlin. Poking it through the goal crease into the corner is Walter. Now to Naslund, to Dahlin. Trying to center. Walter was open, but Bill Height knocked it down. Now Walter. McKenna ties him up. And then is able to clear it to center ice. Chelios, number 24 for the Canadiens. Back to Robinson. To Chris Chelios. Long pass. Naslund had it hop over his stick. Barrasso out of the net. And he fired that so hard, he fired it up near the blue line right into the Buffalo bench. He may have the best shot in the league for a goaltender. Well, he may have, but that's absolutely the thing he didn't.
Vesta and a first All-Star berth is Tom Barrasso.
Starting goaltender for Team USA in the Canada Cup. Got a lot of things for a 20-year-old.
And I would think, Ron, from what we've seen, a lot more to come.
Oh, yes. And you wonder about the goaltending for Buffalo. They just got an embarrassment of riches apparently there. Darren Pupa, a rookie who looks like he's going to be a great one as well.
He reminds me a lot of Barrasso, even with his style. Here's Naslund. Over to the point. Chelios a drive. Now centered. Smith couldn't get turned around to get a shot off. Bobby Smith into Devlois. Takes a rough ride from Ramsey, and Rick Sealing then is able to get it loose and fire it down the ice. Sotard gives it to Naslund. He drops it to Chelios. Back to Mats Naslund. Pass for Smith. Too far for him. Mike Ramsey intercepts and shoots it back in. Chelios will try again with 47 seconds left in the Buffalo penalty. Number 24, Chelios. To Smith. Winding it around behind the net. Getting it to Momesso. He's bumped, and McKenna shoots it away for the Sabres. Sotard giving it to Chelios. Who cleared it, and it's McPhee. Into center ice to Naslund. That's Naslund. To Smith off his skate. McPhee couldn't hold it in. Here's Robinson shooting, and that deflects and went wide. Now McPhee to Smith. Barrasso the save, and then McKenna just slid the puck right back to Tom Barrasso so he could smother it. And now some pushing and shoving in front of that goal just as the minor penalty.
Play out of the position, so he had to stay in the center of the net because the only play they had was from out that side.
Here's McPhee for Montreal to Carbonneau. Centered it. Barrasso tried to grab it. And apparently did for long enough that we got a stoppage in play. He did have the puck, and we'll have another face-off deep in the Buffalo zone.
Well, this game is a typical Adams division game. Lots of contact already in this game. They're hitting. Of course, in the little ice surface, you get plenty of that. And the interdivisional stuff, they're all 4-point games, especially in this division, because I don't think there's a cellar dweller you can pick right now.
Here's Hannu Berta for Buffalo. Shooting it in. Robinson back to get it. Missed it. Foligno for the Sabres. Trying to feed it to Andreychuk, but now Gainey cleared it. Berta flipping it, and he flipped it up over the glass and into the crowd. It's still Buffalo leading this game 1-0. 6:03 left in the first period. This is the NHL on CTV.
1-0. The Sabres have had the schedule for them so far this season. This is their 14th home game. They've played just 9 on the road so far, so it's going to get a little tougher for them.
Dave Andreychuk has scored the only goal from Berta and Perreault at 1:19 here this period, and it's still standing up for a 1-0 Buffalo lead. Rick Green with a nifty move back of his own goal. Now Andreychuk centered, and Fred Ludwig knocked it away. Canadiens can't get it out. Here's Perreault. To Andreychuk. He misfired on that shot. Didn't get good wood on the shot. And then McPhee pokes it to center for Montreal. Number 3, Berta. Offside pass, a two-line offside on that play, and the face-off will come back to inside.
Tends to get a little too emotional about the game. It affects his play. He's learned to do that a little bit this year.
Not to be so emotional. Here's Devlois. Puck hopped over his stick. Now Chelios with a shot. That's broken up. And Tucker comes over to get it for Buffalo. Tucker flips to center. Chelios knocks that down. Hamel rushing him on the play. And now it's Sears shooting it in for Buffalo. Cleared back out for Montreal. Lucien Devlois got it into center ice. Let the Sabres take over at their own line and clear it to the Canadian line. Here's Hamel stealing it. And then Mario Tremblay came back to knock it away from Gilles Hamel. Sear in the corner. Chelios broke that up. Sear will try again. Centers it across. Tucker, number 7. Chelios tying him up. Onto the other side, Halkitis into the corner. Robinson breaks it up, passed it right in front of his own net to Chelios, who gives to Naslund. 2-on-1 break. Pass to Devlois. Backhander that. Stick save there by Barrasso. And now Naslund is injured on the play and face down on the ice. But
games. Catches your eye when you do a thing like that.
Penalty on that last play, by the way, to Buffalo and to Paul Sear. So Montreal on a power play. And Ramsey breaks it up and dumps it in. Sear got a penalty on the last play. Interference, 15:38 the time. Robinson for the Canadiens on the power play. To Chelios. Headmanning it, tipped in by Mamesso. And Barrasso flips it up high into the crowd. And we'll get a stop. Should that be it?
It stops, doesn't it? Tight hockey game or not?
Well, I've seen it called several times this year. They are enforcing it more this year, but that time. And he may have warned him on that play. If you do it again, you're going to get a penalty.
He won't call it when it's they're killing a penalty. Definitely won't call it when some of the teams killing a penalty.
Puck cleared down the ice. Sabres are shorthanded. 1:15 left in the penalty. Broken up by Sean McKenna, number 12. He fired it in. And Gates Orlando was still trapped in the zone offside. He and Svoboda, second year in the league.
Having his problems, Dan. He's got a lot of things to learn. He played the international game, of course.
Here is Svoboda. Taken out of the play. Into the corner for Walter. Back to Dahlin. Shooting. Barrasso the save. Looked in behind him. Look what he got. The puck, and he grabbed it.
Now, who lost a helmet down there? You see see McKenna now coming in front. He lost his helmet coming towards the front. Now here comes the shot. They start worrying when you don't see a helmet down there. Now that's a pretty good tackle that Svoboda threw on McKenna right in front of the net. Brad, they're jamming up in front of that net. There's not a lot of ice. They're really banging around.
Sometimes Sean McKenna end up.
Walter, Dahlin, and Naslund up front. Chelios and Robinson the point men. It's Perreault against Ryan Walters. Still 57 seconds left in the penalty. Height for Buffalo. Trying to clear it. Robinson centered to Naslund. He tipped it wide. Height back to get it. Walter tied him up. Walter to Naslund. That's Naslund. Back to Chelios. Couldn't handle it. Chelios has to hustle to beat Hamel to it. And then Hamel took him out of the play, but the Canadiens come right back with Naslund. He gives it to Dahlin. He couldn't get it into the zone, and Walter drops it back to Chelios. Chris Chelios, number 24, around Mike Ramsey. Back to Robinson, a drive, he scores! Robinson from the left point. And
Brooks Robinson at the bottom of your screen, just waiting for it. He'll one-time it. He doesn't wait at all. Looked like that puck might have been up on end a little bit.
Sure, Ryan Walter didn't tip it either.
Might be.
Look at it again.
All right, let's watch it. 24, there is Chelios. Now watch Walter in front of the net. He's out of your picture right now. Here comes the show. He certainly ran enough interference in there to make it difficult for Tom Barrasso. We've got a tie hockey game. 12th shot for the Canadiens. They're out shooting Buffalo 12-5.
And it's a 1-1 game, and there you see that productive power play of the Canadiens. Now the play called because the puck was hit with a high. Montreal 1, Buffalo 1 is Rick Green for the Canadiens. Got it into Carbonneau, but Verda was there to knock it back out for Buffalo. Now it's Andrechuk for the Sabres. Back checking was Bob Gainey. And he flips it to center where Verda takes over. The Montreal scoring play, Robinson on the power play is third of the year. Chelios and Walter the assist. 17-18 the time. Canadiens clear it. Held in by Halkitis. Centered, but Ludwig is there to knock it down and flip to Chris Nyland. Nyland, big tough Montreal winger, flips it in. And Mike Ramsey is back to get it. Now to Dennis Sear, number 18. Sear winds up wide by 2 or 3 feet. Here's Ramsey at the point. His shot well wide of the net. Now Sear to Hamel. Back to Halkitis. Into Sear. Or it's Hamel who gets the pass, and McPhee checked him and flipped at Ramsey. Hustling back to beat Mamesso to it. And Mike Ramsey then cleared it, and the Sabres had it. Get it again. We're in the final minute of the first period. Hamel couldn't get around Chelios. Tried to set up Smith. Now McPhee, number 35 for Montreal, dropping it deep into his own zone to Lawler. He drops it to Chelios. Number 24 for the Canadiens, Chris Chelios. Fired it out on left wing. It comes to the Buffalo line, and height back to Rick Sealing. He missed it off the boards. Here's Mamesso, and now the shot. Now Chelios. Centered one, deflected by McPhee, and then Barrasso cleared it away. Sear firing it down the ice. This is going to be an icing call against Buffalo. Chelios back to get it. 18 seconds left in the period, and a big face-off coming up in the Buffalo zone.
And take a look again at Barrasso, who's made some big saves on some efforts by Mats Naslund especially, and of course then Robinson getting the goal to tie it up finally on a power play.
Sabres clear it down the ice. They're going to call for icing again.
Defense, well, you win the games that you play, most of them.
Buffalo won that face-off. This is the guy that won it, Perreault, and then he cleared it out of there, and the first period comes to an end. The shots on goal, Montreal had 13.
The most consistent of them all.
He had an assist on the Buffalo goal. That's his 27th scoring point of the year. He leads the Sabres, and here we go at the second period, and Montreal on the attack. Chris Nyland taken out of the play by Berta, and Andreychuk has it for the Sabres to Berta, number 3. And Berta got it into center ice, knocked down by Robinson. Now here's Chris Nyland. Couldn't get around the Buffalo defense, and back comes Foligno. Mike Foligno. Checked by Green, and it's knocked back to center. Berta giving it to Perreault, into Foligno. Backhander, and Sotard came out, made the save, and then fortunately for Doug Sotard, the rebound was...
Tournament at the Viking Cup. He saw him, he liked him, and he drafted him, and right now I guess he's his best defenseman. So something good came out of that lap, Dan.
He's in his 4th year as Berta. He's just 22 years of age. Out of Finland, here's Montreal in this 1-1 game. Bobby Smith beating Walter, shot right on, and a good sprawling save by Barrasso. Now Chelios, who had a great first period, to Lawler. His shot blocked, and Ruff pokes it ahead for Sear. To Tucker, the pass just out of his reach, and Chelios is back for the Canadiens. To Lawler, number 38. Long lead pass, too far for Dahlin, and Ramsey back for Buffalo. Dahlin stole it, drops to Chelios. He's too closely checked, but good play by Chelios to hold it in. Now the Sabres do carry up. Lead pass to Sear, number 18. Sear tried to center once, now shoots once. Sotard the save. Rebound, Ruff had it at his feet, couldn't get to it. And the Canadiens clear it away. They'll be called for icing, but they won't be too upset about that.
Well, they wish he'd be a little more offensive, but he is a terrific defensive player.
Here is Carbonneau trying to feed it to Nyland. Broken up, shot back to the Montreal line. Green is there to knock it down. And now Playfair lost it. Here comes Carbonneau. Carbonneau shooting one, and Barrasso to his knees to stop that. Here's Chris Nyland, got away from Sealing. Barrasso, the save on Nyland, and then he's able to smother it. Now Carbonneau back to the net. Almost got into it with Playfair.
Well, big thump against the boards behind the net. Nyland, meanwhile, is out in front. I tell you, he doesn't quit on a puck when
he's had 35 shots. 33, 35 for Carbonneau. For instance, Naslund has 59 to lead the team. Right from the face-off, a jam up in the corner. Montreal on the face-off. Mario Tremblay winding it around in the boards. Over to get it for Buffalo was Steve Dykstra. He got it to center. Naslund has it there. Now here's Andreychuk for the Sabres. Just dumping it into the corner. Penalty coming up here against Montreal, a slashing penalty, and the Canadiens will have to and they have to be restrained by the linesman. A penalty coming up to Montreal. This is the NHL on CT. Buffalo on a power play. Housley, number 6, over to the other point to Perreault. His shot blocked, and Carbonneau is there to clear it away. Let's set up the Buffalo power play for you. Perreault and Housley are the point men, with Tucker, Andreychuk, and Foligno up front. Here's Perreault, the number 25, Andreychuk. Carbonneau back checking. Now Andreychuk to Perreault. Rink wide to Housley. Number 6, Phil Housley. Shoots one. That hit Ludwig. Now Foligno to Housley. Back to Perreault. Takes the shot. Feeds Andreychuk. Now to Perreault. Trying to get it to Housley, but it's intercepted. And here's penalty killer par excellence, Bob Gainey, dropping it back to Ludwig, who fired it down the ice. Mr. Gainey knows how to kill a penalty.
Oh, he's been great in this hockey game. The few occasions that they've had to kill a penalty. Well, they invented a trophy for him.
He's won the Selke Trophy 4
against Buffalo a couple of nights ago. One of those guys they haven't one of those guys that they haven't been able to find a position for. He's missed just one game, and that was the Quebec game. A very rough game they played here 3 games back, I guess.
Buffalo on the attack, but breaking it up was Ludwig. 40 seconds left in the penalty. And now number 4 for the Sabres, Steve Dykstra, back to get it. Dykstra, 25-year-old native of Edmonton, Alberta. Served his apprenticeship at Rochester, trying to hit McKenna. That's knocked away by Gainey. Now to Carbonneau and Barrasso out of the net. Now a diving save by Barrasso to stop Carbonneau, who had an open net and may have taken a little too time, or a little too much time before firing. Back comes Dykstra. Dykstra behind the net to McKenna. Now Ruff tried to get it to Dykstra, but Canadians try and clear it. Penalized player is back on. Deblois centered and then shot away by Rick Green. And as Hamel goes back, it's going to be an icing call against the Montreal Canadiens. Face off deep in the Buffalo zone, and the Sabres control it. And Dykstra feeds Foligno. Now into the center ice area. Montreal's Tremblay knocking it down. Here's Foligno checking very close at this point. Here's Hanover to number 3. Lets a shot go that went off Swoboda wide to the net. Tremblay trying to clear it, couldn't, and Robinson over to Swoboda. Lead pass, Berta knocking that down. Here's Perreault, number 11. What a move there. Dumps it in. Swoboda taken out by Berta. Swoboda then able to clear it. And Naslund fires it for Tremblay. Bill Height bumped off the puck by Mario Tremblay. Sabres come back, and Andreychuk banking it off the boards for Perreault. Goes down the ice, and Sotard sets it up for Swoboda. To Robinson. Into the center ice area. Sear has it for Buffalo. Number 18, Sear. Paul Sear dumping it back in. And Swoboda is there for Montreal to Robinson. Now to Naslund. Tips it to Deblois. Deblois to Mimosa, and now to Naslund. He's checked, and Height has it. Got it on the boards. Ruff then cleared it. And McPhee just over the boards intercepts. Back to Robinson. And held in by Buffalo with some good checking by Lindy Ruff. Robinson will try. Then it hit Ruff and went right through the goal crease. Buffalo trying to hold it in. McPhee couldn't get it up. Good forechecking here by the Sabres. And finally, Green got it out to center. Here's Playfair trying to shoot it back in. Ryan Strudlin knocks that down. Into Comesso, a shot. Barrasso, a save on that. And then it's grabbed. And then Strudlin almost gets into it with Bill Height of Buffalo. Now off to the side, Playfair, and McPhee would like to do battle. And they have to be restrained by the linesman Leon Stickle and John D'Amico. It's a 1-1 game here in Buffalo. This is the NHL on seat.
And I don't mean Western Ontario.
Face-off won by Montreal. Ludwig from the point with a blast wide. And now back comes Mike Foligno, number 17. Green played him. A shot from a bad angle, turned aside. Buffalo trying to center it. Comes to Verda, number 3. Rick Green has no stick there. You see his broken stick. Now Green bumps into Andrechuk. Green playing without a stick. Andrechuk. Puck came in front, and finally Montreal able to clear it, and that will give Green a chance to get a new stick. Verda back to pick it up. Off the boards to Perreault. Now it's Chris Nyland. Knocked out by Foligno. Carbonneau has it over to Chelios. Chelios flips it in, and Verda and fires it back out, and Chelios a rink-wide pass to Lawler. Now to Carbonneau. Poking it in for Gini. Back to Carbonneau. Carbonneau centered one, got it in front. Chris Nyland couldn't get the shot off. Nyland to Gini. Back to Chelios. Montreal with pressure on. Backhander. Andrechuk blocks it now. Carbonneau shot wide. Here's Gini. To Chelios shooting wide. Lawler at the point. To Carbonneau. Barrasso knocked that pass out away. And then Perreault cleared it. Good play by Chelios to hold it in. Chris Chelios. And now Perreault able to clear the zone. And Lawler goes back to get it. In center ice. Nyland just dumping it in. Great pressure there by Montreal, Ron.
Well, they're skating so well tonight. They had their problems in Washington the other night. It's turned their game completely around. And again, it's that business of getting back into the Adams division and playing.
Buffalo trying to get it out of their own zone. Alcides couldn't clear it out. Deblois to Mario Tremblay. Shot blocked by Ramsey in front of the net, and he is down and injured after blocking. Face-off won by Montreal. Chelios from the point. Shot wide. Now Lawler couldn't hold it in, and Chelios has to chase back. Feeding it out to Deblois. Ramsey injured, but right back out there. Now Hamel couldn't get anywhere, and Lawler flips to Naslund. He's hit by 2 Sabres, and this is one of the guys that hits Naslund, Alcides, who shoots it in. Chelios back to get it. Hamel knocked him off the puck. Hamel centered, but Deblois was there for Montreal to Tremblay. Cleared out of the zone, shot back in by Ramsey. Beautiful Quebec City. Well, the Nordiques and the Islanders. Here in Buffalo, it's a 1-1 game. We've passed the midway point of this game. 9:48 left in the second period. Swoboda for Montreal. Clears to Dahlin. Now to Smith. Held in by Sear. Shooting one, and Sotard to his knees to stop that shot. I don't know if Sotard...
View of it now as it comes through all the legs, including Green. And he saw it. He saw it the last 20 feet, and he was there. But he'd be in position, top of the crease, exactly where he had to be. You let the puck hit you, something as Jacques Plante taught the goaltenders here when he was coaching the Canadiens over the last couple of years.
We're going to have penalties.
Watch this now, and that's a good penalty. Take those. Barrasso would have had to deal with it all alone had the penalty not come.
So now Montreal with the league's most productive power play with the man advantage. Huron sending out Smith, Momesso, and Naslund up front. Going to be Chelios as one of the point men.
Responsible with that rink-long rush for the 1 goal the Canadiens have scored.
Here's Rick Sealing tipping it down the ice for Buffalo, and this is the man we were talking about, number 24, Chris Chelios. Forecheck very hard this time by the Sabres. Kent Hughes in to do the forechecking there. Now it's shot down the ice by Sealing. Chelios back to get it. Here comes Hughes again. This time Robinson does a little interference, so Hughes can't get in there as quickly. Chelios. Headmanning to Robinson. Now to Momesso, number 36, into Smith. To Robinson, back to Chelios. Over to Robinson. To Chelios again. Shooting one. That hit Hughes' stick. Now Ramsey in the corner. Can't clear it. Finally did, and it's Hughes shooting it down the ice for the Sabres. Robinson with a minute left in the penalty. To Smith, who's checked. Here's Hamel. Gil Hamel shooting one. Sotard got a stick on that. And Smith starts back for Montreal. Passed it, but Tremblay was going the other way. The Sabres' height clears it down the ice. Here's Robinson. To Deblois. Lucien Deblois to Mats Naslund. Height defensively for Buffalo. Naslund stops. Trying to drop it back. Did. Robinson spins. Gives it to Naslund. Into Deblois. Now to Tremblay. To Chelios at the point. Shooting one. That hit Height. Bounced in front. As Tremblay put it in front. And then Playfair cleared it away. Barrasso lost it for the second. And then it's cleared over the glass. Let's get an update on other games. Here's Dan Matheson.
In Detroit, the Red Wings are going crazy in the second period. They have scored 3 unanswered goals. John Ogrodnik's second of the game has made it 5-3 Detroit. Meanwhile, they are now underway in Minnesota. The Flyers looking for their 19th.
9 seconds left in the penalty. Ludwig shot. Barrasso with a...
On here. An entertaining game to watch.
And it's still 1-1. Ramsey trying to clear it. Green held it in for Montreal. Green shot. Barrasso the save. Held on to it just as McKenna. All the players will tell you that.
I said a lot of fights, huh? And he says, yeah, one every minute.
Face off. Won by the Sabres and Dykstra. Banks it off the boards. Ludwig shoots it right back in for Montreal. Here's Gainey digging in. Barrasso tipped it away and Dykstra cleared it. Ludwig at the point. Shot right on. Barrasso the save. Dykstra cleared it. Here's Carbonneau to Gainey. Gainey shot. Blocked at the defense. Gainey gets it again. But Andrechuk breaks back for Buffalo. The long shot as he dumped it in. Green for Montreal. Checked by Foligno, but Carbonneau is there for the Canadiens. Dykstra held it in. Now checked by Carbonneau. Head manning to Chris Nyland. Nyland moves in. Barrasso the save. Rebound. Gainey shot it wide. Gainey wide open in the slot and he missed the net. Here's Ludwig. Shoots one. Stopped at the defense. Carbonneau. That's Ludwig taken. Centers to Gainey. A drive and he fires that wide. Canadiens with all kinds of pressure on. And now the Sabres clear it out. Gainey going back to get it. Number 23, Gainey to Green. Shot it off the boards, down the ice. This is going to be an icing call against Montreal.
The Sabres in.
Just over 6 minutes left in the period. Still 1-1. The Canadiens from their own zone quickly clear to the Buffalo end. Ramsey shooting it back, and here's Chelios to Lawler. Now ahead on the wing for McPhee. Got it into the zone, but Buffalo's come right back. Number 22, Ruff to Tucker. Tucker's shot. He scores! Number 7, John Tucker.
That one deflected, Dan. It wasn't much of a shot. He just let it go towards the net, but watch the defenseman on this play. Tucker, 22, and as he lets it go, and cutting across, here he is, number 7. Now the shot, and it may have hit, cutting in front of the net, Lindy Ruff, number 22. Let's take a look at it again. As Ruff drops it, there's the shot, and it changed direction, went stick side on Sotard. And the Sabres, on just their 11th shot, have opened a 2-1 lead here.
Well, Tucker let it go, but I agree with you, Ron, that it hit something, and it may have hit Lindy Ruff. I give the goal to Tucker, but like the Robinson goal, which, by the way, still has not been changed, we might have a change on that later. But anyway, it's 2-1 Buffalo, despite the fact the Sabres have been outplayed. Here's Gates Orlando. Now in the corner, Rick Sealing getting into it. With one of the Canadiens. Is that Swoboda down at the bottom of the pile? Or at the officials?
Or at the officials.
Oh, he could do that a week into his first year. Couldn't do an interview, but he could sure say the right words.
Face off, won by Montreal. Smith trying to get it out of there. Hamel centered in front. Here's McKenna. Couldn't get turned around. Robinson had him tied up, and Chelios has it for Montreal. Coincidental penalties on that play, by the way, so the team's at full strength. Here's Walter to Smith, trying to go around Height. Bobby Smith, poke check by Barrasso, rebound, and Walter fired it wide, just like Gainey did about a minute ago. Here's Orlando at center off his skate. Back comes Chelios. Playfair knocking that down and fires it down the ice, and Robinson goes back. Now to Dahlin. Over to Walter. He's taken up. Playfair just trying to hold it there. Now scoops it to the line. Chelios held it in. Walter poking it free. Gets it to Smith. Backhander from a bad angle, and he hit the side of the net. Smith centers one. Comes all the way back into the Montreal zone, and Sotard feeds it to Chelios. Now to Smith. Now to his reach. And Berta slaps it off the boards for Buffalo. Chelios taken up by Foligno. And Naslund has it for the Canadiens. Back to Robinson. To DeBlois. Now to Mario Tremblay. Tremblay racing in, and that's called back on a two-line off.
2-1 on 2 deflected goals. Or 1 deflected goal. There have been 2 in the game.
Here's Foligno for Buffalo. Back to Dykstra. That shot bouncing wide. Andrechuk for the Sabres. DeBlois giving him a working over on the boards, and it's held there. The shots on goal are exactly 2-1. 22 for Montreal, 11 for Buffalo. That last scoring play, John Tucker gets the goal, his 8th of the year. Craig Ludwig for Montreal, number 17. Over to Gainey. He just tipped it to center. Berta for Buffalo. Fires it back in. There's Andrechuk and Green racing for it. Now it's over to Perreault in the corner. Buffalo on the attack again. Carbonneau is there. Able to clear it. Nyland tipped it to center, and now Dykstra for Buffalo. Giving it to Andrechuk. Flipped into Foligno. Montreal knock it right back out. And Hannu Berta, number 3 for the Sabres. To Andrechuk. Fires wide. Buffalo dig in. Sear got it behind the goal. Carbonneau trying to clear it. Now Rick Green. Pinned there by number 18, Paul Sear. Green and Sear continue to battle. Now Andrechuk to Perreault. Out in front. Sear stopped by Sotard. Here's Sear again. Shoots one. That hit his own man. Now Nyland into the other corner. He and Ramsey collide heavily, and there'll be a penalty here to Nyland for elbowing, and now Ramsey and Nyland almost get into it, but Chris Nyland will get a penalty. It's Buffalo leading 2.
Yeah, above, but you can see where the hard work was put in on this ice surface yesterday. The skating around and the stops and starts had a groove.
Here's Ramsey from the point. Sotard got a piece of that. Rough. Now to Housley. Over to Mike Ramsey. Into Sear. Centers it. Tucker giving it to Sear. Back to Ramsey. Shooting one. Sotard to save. Rebound to Tucker. Another shot by Tucker. First one stopped by Sotard. The second, Tucker missed the net. Now it's Ramsey at the point. Into Ruff. Number 22, Ruff. Shot one that hit Ludwig. Green cleared it away. Ludwig trying to fire it off the boards. And the Sabres have to go back. Great pressure there on the Buffalo power play. Ramsey, number 5. Giving it to Foligno. Robinson breaking it up, drops it to Chelios. Montreal 19th best penalty killing team in the league. Sabres 16th on the power play. Here's Foligno. To Andrechuk, back to Foligno. 45 seconds left in the penalty. Foligno trying to get through the middle, did. DeBlois clears it and gets it out of there.
Great effort by Foligno.
And a good play by DeBlois to break it up and clear it away. Buffalo again. Perreault to Housley. We're in the final minute of the second period. Housley cleared it. Here's Foligno. To Andrechuk. Chelios broke it up. Lost it back to Foligno. To Andrechuk. Back to Foligno, but DeBlois intercepts. And the Canadiens come to center and shoot it in. Back come Buffalo. Andrechuk. Trying to center. McKenna's shot. Sotard the save. Robinson cleared it. Nyland back on. Shot from the point. Deflected by Andrechuk. And Sotard the save. Now Montreal with Brian Skrudland. Number 39. Decked by Orlando. Here's Nyland firing it down. 15 seconds left in the period. The Canadiens are back at full strength.
5 shots on that power play, and 4 of them were labeled, Dan.
Here's Hamel. Now to McKenna. McKenna checked by Chelios. Hamel gets it. The buzzer goes to end the second period. Shots on goal in the second period. Buffalo had 11. Montreal 9 in the game. Montreal 22 and Buffalo
Penny, and it will be Sotard and Roy from at least for the foreseeable future with the Canadiens.
Here we go at the third period. Buffalo in their own zone. That's Nyland in forechecking. Halkitis trying to tie him up. And now it's Tucker on the boards to Ruff, number 22. Look to center. Robinson knocked it down. Handed it right to Tucker. John Tucker moves in, and he's checked from behind by Carbonneau. And Carbonneau slides the puck into the Buffalo zone. Barrasso leaving it for Halkitis. Now to Ruff. Ruff to Tucker. Tucker knocking it ahead for Paul Cyr, but Rick Green is back for Montreal. He leaves it for number 19, Larry Robinson. Robinson trying to clear it into Smith and went off his stick and over the glass into the crowd. We've played 50 seconds of the third.
The fellow has played a lot of hockey over the last decade and quite a bit.
Now 34 years of age is Robinson. Puck shot in by Montreal. Berta back to get it. Over to Dykstra. Now to Foligno. He gives it to Perreault. Perreault trying to center. Andrechuk tied up by Chelios. Drops it to Berta. Now into Andrechuk. Skated off by Chelios. Good defensive play there by Chelios. And now he cleared it to Dahlin, who got it to center. Berta for Buffalo to Perreault. Now Foligno knocking it back into his own zone. Berta has the single. Those were some of the key moves in the turnaround by Montreal in the last few weeks.
Well, Deblois coming back on Wednesday night in Washington.
Some of the veterans who know how it's done have been the cause. Here's Hamel booming a shot wide. Sealing, clearing it back to the goal. Deblois then knocking it loose to Tremblay. Tremblay couldn't get it by Bill Height. Now Orlando in there for Buffalo. But Deblois knocked it down. Couldn't get it by Sealing at the point. Now Robinson trying to clear it. Another play by Sealing to hold it in. Robinson says to heck with it. We'll try this side. Over to Naslund. He's checked. Montreal couldn't get it out. Centering pass. And just failing to jam it in was Orlando as Sotard got a stick on it. Robinson to match Naslund. He dumps it in and Sealing. Going back, Barrasso cleared it. Tremblay now to Naslund. Here's Naslund. Put it in front. Tremblay, a shot over top of the net as Sotard got a piece of that. And Mario Tremblay just about tied this. Here's a shot by Nyland. He shoots. He scores! Chris Nyland right from the faceoff after Carbonneau won the draw. And it's tied 2-2.
Well, the guy they like to call Nuxie in the dressing room, Chris Nyland. And he has not got what you call one of the great shots in the National Hockey League. And I'm not so sure that didn't deflect a little bit. It seemed to change direction as he let it go. He just leaned into it right off the face-off. And it let it go. And it seemed to go right into the post off the post into the net. But it seemed to change direction a little bit. So Nyland gets one.
And it's tied at 2. Puck shot in by Buffalo. Sotard setting it up for Ludwig. Now to Gainey. Cyr tying Gainey up. In comes Ruff. Trying to get it to Tucker. Rick Green for Montreal. Shooting one high off the glass. Hustling down is Carbonneau. Carbonneau keeps that play onside by touching the puck first. Now Tucker gets it for Buffalo. Number 7, John Tucker to Lindy Ruff. Back checking was Gainey to knock it back in, and it's offside at the Buffalo line. Let's see.
5-inch Dave Brown. Philly leads in Minnesota 2-0.
That last scoring play here for Montreal. Chris Nyland getting the goal from Carbonneau. 2:31 the time. Now a good chance for Andrechuk. Sotard stopped that. Shot from the point by Berta is wide. And Montreal's Chelios feeding it to Momesso, number 36. Berta skates him off, and Perreault couldn't get it by Bobby Smith. Dahlin to Momesso. He's upended by Andrechuk. Smith for Montreal to Dahlin. Skated off. Now Dykstra for Buffalo. Puck comes loose and Andrechuk, number 25, to Foligno at center. Leaving it for Dykstra. Number 4, Steve Dykstra couldn't center, and back come the Canadiens. Into center ice, Momesso. Orlando knocks that down, and Andrechuk dropping it back to Berta. A 2-2 game. Berta's long shot. Sotard handles that. Clears it himself to Naslund, who didn't see it coming. And Sealing hustles back for Buffalo to Bill Height. Tipping it now for Orlando, who shot it in. And the Canadiens go back and get it. Clear it. Intercepted by Hamel. A shot. Skate save after the giveaway by Lawler. Good chance for Buffalo. Here's Hamel again. Whistles that one up high and into the crowd. Here a Dandy Adams division game going. 2-2. Buffalo and Montreal as Height shoots it in for Buffalo. Sealing digging in, but the Canadiens knock it loose, and Naslund shoots it to the Buffalo line. Height back to pick it up. Tremblay into forecheck. Here's Mario Tremblay. Height took him out. Now Height and Tremblay fall, and we'll get a face-off in the Buffalo zone.
Now we look at the veteran Bill Height, 6'3", 205 pounds from Renaissance.
They kept offering me a big contract.
Hard to say no sometimes. Sore knees and all. 15:02 left in the third period. Tremblay from the face-off. And that shot off a stick and up into the crowd.
And 9 rookies in the lineup for at least one game that the Canadiens had, and all of them were forwards with the exception of one. You're bound to see it in the standings. The Canadiens had some problems. They're getting them all back now, and it's looking a lot better for them. They're playing much better.
Here's big Playfair for Buffalo to Sealing. Off his stick and down the ice. Hustling back is Robinson, and this is going to be an icing call. You see the time remaining, 14:47, a 2-2 game. Face-off won by the Sabres. Here's Halkitis dumping it into the Montreal zone. Shot around on the boards. Tucker knocking it back of the net. And then the Canadiens clear it out of there. Halkitis goes back to pick it up. Got it to Sear, who just tips it into the Montreal zone. Robinson back after it. Cleared it. Sear knocked it down. Now Gainey. Rink wide to Nyland. Broken up by Ramsey. Carbonneau getting it again for Montreal to Gainey. Number 23, Bob Gainey, lost it to Tucker. He drops it back, and the shot by Sear blocked at the defense. Montreal with Robinson. He ran into a couple of players, including the referee. Halkitis for Buffalo. Over to Ramsey. Rink wide to Andrechuk. His long shot wide of the net, but the play was offside.
Now.
Here's Buffalo. Dykstra chipping it into the Canadian zone. Ludwig back to get it. Cleared it. Dykstra knocking it down. Got it back near the line. Now here's Smith to Dahlin. He couldn't get it, and Andrechuk drops it to Verda. Anu Verda leaving it for Dykstra. Number 4, Steve Dykstra. Still with the puck. To Perreault. Put it right through the goal crease with a centering pass. Hustling back, Dahlin with Momesso. Couldn't get it to him. Drops it to Smith. Smith right in. Big sprawling save, Barrasso. Now centered and off the post. And the Sabres come back. Here's Foligno. Leaving it for Mike Ramsey with a drive. That's off the stick of Sotar. Smith, who gives it to Momesso. And that play is offside. Oh, Bobby Smith.
As he gets past his check, gets in over the line, reaches for it, fights off the check, stops up now, and then just throws it into the slot. Now Smith is coming at full speed. Very difficult to handle, but he got in a little bit too close. He's got that big wide deke of his, but Barrasso is right with him. But if he carry on with that play, it came back out and went off the post. Canadiens had a chance to go into the lead.
Here's Mike Ramsey for Buffalo in this 2-2 game. Ahead to Sealing. He's taken out, and Deblois cleared it out. And here comes Naslund with only Ramsey back. Naslin's shot partially blocked by Ramsey, and it went wide. And now the Sabres with Hamel. Oh, he's bumped hard by Deblois. Sealing for Buffalo. But Naslund takes over for the Canadiens. Dropping it back to Lawler, now to Chelios. Over to Deblois. Number 27, Deblois. Centered to Walter. He fanned on that shot. Walter just tipping it into the corner, but Orlando is there. And Gates Orlando got away from some forechecking, and back comes the Buffalo rookie Orlando. Number 23, Orlando. Couldn't make a centering play. Dykstra pinching in, gets possession. Lets a shot go. Sotard the save, and Waller, number 38, dropping it around behind his own goal. Carbonneau flipped it to center, and here's Tucker. Here's Tucker stick handling, but checked on the play by Waller. The Sabres get it again. Dykstra flips it in. Sotard steers it away. Waller cleared it. Dykstra held it in. Dykstra shooting off the stick of Sotard and up into the crowd.
Coming in, and then it fell apart on him. Took him 10 games to get his game back in gear. He's playing well now. Two-way game, too, for the Canadiens.
Puck is shot to center by Montreal. Ruff has it there, clearing to Sear, who tips it in. And Swoboda is back for the Canadiens. He took a tough check from Ruff, but got it to Nyland. Now to Carbonneau, over to Gainey. And Berta breaks that up for Buffalo. Over comes Ruff. He really got a piece of Carbonneau. And now Carbonneau and Ruff are a little upset at each other, and the linesmen have to restrain those two. And they do. Let's go to Dan Matheson.
After leading 3-2 after one.
A few weeks ago, about the Canadiens entitled the French Foreign Legion. There are not that many Canadians playing with this team anymore.
A couple of Swedish players, one from Czechoslovakia, several U.S. players. Not the flying Frenchman of days gone by.
Well, we just had a shift out there. They had Lawler and Chelios, both Americans on defense. Nyland and Naslund up front, a Sweden and American, and Carbonneau was the lone Canadian outside of Sotard on the ice.
Here are the Canadiens with Walter to Smith. Bobby Smith. Back to Ludwig. Shot blocked in front of the goal by Perreault. He beats Andrechuk, who's one-on-one against Ludwig. Andrechuk waits for help, drops it to Foligno, and Ludwig bounced him out before he could get the shot off.
Put his head down.
And Ludwig took the man and didn't worry about the puck. Here's Smith. Long shot wide. Alkidis is in possession for Buffalo. Shot at the center. And Montreal come right back. Tremblay shoots. He scores! Mario Tremblay took a pass from Mike Lawler and seemed to surprise Barrasso.
Looked like a slider, if you use the baseball parlance. It seemed to take off on Barrasso. He had a bead on it. Let's take a look at it now. And again, watch number 14 and watch the shot and the way it seems to slice through the air. And it just seemed to curl in off the glove and into the net of Barrasso. Seemed to have it all the way, and suddenly he didn't. Get a really good view of it here, and off the end of the glove and into the net it goes. And Tremblay has put the Canadiens in front 3-2.
Mario Tremblay's third goal of the year. You have to remember this is only his sixth game of the year because of injuries, but it's a big one and gives Montreal a lead at 3-2. I think your point about it being a slider on is well taken. It may have gone off the Buffalo player's stick just as Mario shot it. But it really fooled Barrasso. 3-2 Montreal as the Sabres now attack. They dump it in. Chelios trying to clear it out. Dykstra held it in. Now Chelios gets it again. Chelios poking it to the man who just scored, Mario Tremblay. Now to Naslund. Trying to get it to Deblois. Hamel right back for Buffalo. Knocked away at the Montreal defense. And now here's Tremblay for the Canadiens. Long shot for Barrasso. During that aside, and Berta takes over. Less than 9 minutes to play in the third period. Buffalo couldn't clear it out. Here's Gainey moving in, centered. Barrasso grabbed that and held it long enough that we get away.
Shell point. Let's take a look at it now. Here's the shot. It did. It hit the stick, Dan, and seemed to. That's what caused it to change the way the puck was propelled, and it sliced away or into Barrasso, and he had to go off the end of his glove.
3-2, Montreal leading. Now Bob Gainey for the Canadiens, holding it in the Buffalo zone to Swoboda. In front of the net, Carbonneau shoots. He scores! Carbonneau, and Montreal 2-goal lead.
Well, Carbonneau wound up getting a puck, Dan, alone in front of the net simply because the defenseman was too busy trying to hang on to Darlene. And no, that's Nyland in front. Now look at Ramsey. He's holding him now. He's out of position here, and the puck rolls loose. And it allows Carbonneau to just scoop it in and put it into the net. So there was no defenseman, and Carbonneau became a one-on-one situation against the goaltender. And there it is, just past the pad of Barrasso. But it was Nyland who was doing, as he so often does, play the pest in front of the net, and it took the concentration of Ramsey completely away from what he should have been doing, and that's looking after the slot area.
Any thoughts, Brad, on the Montreal surge here in the third?
Oh, they've got confidence going through the first and second period. That goal by Nyland really picked them up. Serge Savard said earlier, I asked him if they got down to a tight hockey game, if he'd go with 4 defensemen. He says the coach will probably go with 6, but they won't all get the same ice time. That sounds like 4 to me.
Here's Berta with a backhander wide. Perreault now trying to center. Broken up, and Darlene, number 20 for Montreal. Kjell Darlene in on the wing. Play was offside as Svoboda was in ahead of the pass at the Buffalo blue line.
Get another look at this goal. Carbonneau from Gainey and Robinson at 11:37. Carbonneau, Johnny on the spot in front of the net. And again, as you look at it, watch for the key to the play really was Nyland in front. Now he is, look at, he's just bothering everybody in front of the net, and Ramsey is hanging on to him, and it allowed, well, actually 2 players in front. Both Carbonneau and Gainey were there, but it was Carbonneau who got the puck and put it in.
2 goals, a minute 16 seconds apart. Nyland, or pardon me, Tremblay at 10:21, then Carbonneau at 11:37. 3 goals here in the third period by Montreal. Nyland
Opportunities later, and you wind up losing it. Canadiens have had just hardly any shots in this period. It ran total in the period of 6. And they've scored 3 goals.
Buffalo now trailing by 2. McKenna trying to center one. Comes in front, and Darlene breaks away for Montreal. Darlene around Halkides. Big save, Barrasso on Kjell Darlene, who showed a burst of speed. Puck cleared down the ice, and then Ludwig back to touch it. That's icing against Buffalo. Montreal with a 4-2 lead.
Go.
Kjell Darlene, 22-year-old rookie, 4th round pick of the Canadiens in 81. Face-off won by Montreal. Here's Walter into the corner. Now Tremblay trying to help out. Tremblay fell, and Tucker gets it. And feeds it across to Sear. Knocked back in by Montreal. Now we have a fight going over on this near side.
Lindy Ruff.
Lindy Ruff, and who's the Montreal player?
Tremblay down there. They seemed to come. Tremblay went down as they were coming up along the boards. I said Tremblay, and it is Walter.
I think it's Ryan Walter.
Yeah,
it's Walter.
Yeah.
2. Shots on goal in the third period are dead even. 7 apiece, but Montreal has scored on 3 of their 7 shots. And Buffalo has been held scoreless by Sotar. Waller, number 38, giving it to Chelios. Back to Lawler. Lawler beats 1 man. Now flipped to Naslund. He cleared it ahead. Deblois racing in. He's onside on the play. Trying to center. Berta knocked it down, and then when he did, Barrasso is there to clear it away. It's Tucker for Buffalo. Tucker doing some neat stick handling. And now John Tucker fires it in. And Waller goes back. 6 minutes left in the third period. 4-2 Montreal. Naslund just flipping it near the Buffalo line. Mike Ramsey right back for the Sabres. Long shot. Sotard off balance, but making the save. And Chelios clearing at the length of the ice. Hustling back. Halkides. And as he touches it, now an icing call against Montreal. We're down to 5:38. Buffalo 2 goals down. Send out Perreault, Foligno, and Andrechuk. Ramsey and Halkides on defense. The Canadiens with Carbonneau, Gainey, and Nyland. It's the scorers against the checkers right here.
You see a lot of that.
Checkers win for Montreal, the face-off. And here's Carbonneau, a 3-on-1 break. Carbonneau shoots, he scores! A 3-on-1 Montreal break, and Carbonneau scores to make it 5-2 Montreal.
Well, the key to that was a tremendous reception of the pass at center ice by Carbonneau. He reached behind him. Let's take the outlet pass here at Swoboda at center ice, and he knocked it down on a backhand and then got it up to his forehand. Now we've got a 2-on-1. Carbonneau dropped his shoulder and then let the shot fly with Nyland off to his right. But at center ice, the reception of the pass, and then here's the low angle as he just let it. And again, that looked like it deflected as it seemed to bounce and go into the net on Barrasso. And it is now 5-2, and this game has completely gone sour as far as the Sabres are concerned here in the third period.
Brad, I said it's the scorers against the checkers, and the scorers all got caught in the other end of the rink.
They're playing very well. That Carbonneau line has been a real going concern. They got the first goal against them of the hockey game, and since then they bounced back unbelievable.
Here's Perreault for Buffalo, but broken up by Swoboda, and back comes Gainey. To Nyland. Chris Nyland shooting one wide on the short side. Ramsey now falling, pokes it ahead with a hand pass to Perreault. That stops play. 4 goals in the third period by Montreal. This is the NHL.
Goals and an assist on the tying goal.
How about defensively, Brad?
Well, you've got to look at a couple of people. You know, Zotar's played very well in the net. Chella's played very well on defense. They've held the Sabres down to 2 goals.
Can you have the same guy as an offensive and defensive winner? Carbonneau would be a good choice.
Brad and I just discussed reversing it. How about Chelios as offensive star, because he's been so good coming out of his end too. And Carbonneau, of course, does it at both ends of the ice. We talked earlier in the game about the fact he doesn't shoot the puck enough. There he had 2 goals, and he
must have heard you.
Somebody listens.
Ryan Strudlin dropping it back into the Canadian zone. It comes to Momesso. Trying to get it through to McPhee. Broken up by Berta. Just over 4 minutes left. The Canadiens have exploded here in the third period and have a 5-2 lead. Smith tipping it in, and Playfair shoots it back out, and here comes Tucker. In across the line, centered by Sear. Here's Housley, now being used as a forward after not being used for most of this game up front. Montreal dump it down to the Buffalo end of the rink. They'll lean in to get it, and here's Bill Height to Sear. Puck cleared. Waller couldn't knock it down. Now Naslund back checking. Here's Gainey. He's firing it into the Buffalo end of the rink, and Playfair is back to get it. Larry Playfair. Buffalo came into this period leading 2-1. It's now 5-2. Here's Dahlin. Flipping to Smith, but Naslund was in ahead of the play over on left wing offside.
Well, Bobby Smith, the fellow who came over in a deal with the Minnesota North Stars. He had a reputation in Minnesota that I think most people in Montreal think wasn't.
Montreal capitalized him. On the other hand, Montreal did force him and earn some chances.
Nyland, Tremblay, and Carbonneau with 2 in a row have scored here in the third for Montreal. Here are the Canadiens coming out of their own zone. Robinson to Deblois. Trying to feed it in, but it hit Naslund, who had fallen down, and now Andrechuk flips to center ice. Swoboda to Mario Tremblay. He dumps it in, and Foligno is back to get it. Almost lost it, and Alcides had to cover up. Got it on the boards. Deblois getting it back into the corner. Naslund in there forechecking, and he'll force a faceoff in the Buffalo zone. 2:28 left in the third period. 5-2 Montreal. And now a little pushing and shoving down in the corner, and per usual, number 14, very aggressive, always in the game, Mario Tremblay.
Seems like he's been around forever. He's only 28 years old now, but he was one of the first 18-year-olds to make the National Hockey League after the 18-year-old draft. Played only a couple of weeks in the minor leagues and came up with Doug Risebrough to form what was the kid line for the Canadiens. He was so successful in the late 70s.
I can remember the year they came up, Scotty Bowman saying they really gave that team a lift when they were kind of floundering a little.
They came up in a game in Boston. They were called up from the Nova Scotia Voyageurs, and they came up and they just banged everybody around Boston Garden, both Risebrough and
Wait a minute. I played in Boston.
Well, with a 5-2 lead. I was at that game. They did bump you around. Here's Robinson poking it in.
So was I, and I agree.
And it's 2-on-1.
So forget it.
Skrudland into the corner, comes to McPhee in the slot, dropping it to Chelios. Into McPhee. Center to Skrudland, moving right in. Couldn't get the shot off. Skrudland still with the puck. Gives it to McPhee. Over to Momesso, who was open but fanned on it. And then Hamel fell. Now we're going to get a penalty. Goal stick, and we're down to 38 seconds left.
Well, what this is going to do to the standings, of course, every game within the Adams division has immense impact. This is the 22nd game for the Canadiens, and this will give them 23 points, move them back into a tie with Quebec for third place in the division. But they will be only 2 points behind Buffalo now in the division, and just 3 points out of first place in the division. Now, Buffalo will have played 23 games, while first place Boston plus Quebec and Montreal will have played 22. Now, don't forget Hartford laying back there. They played only 20 games, and they are just 3 points out of third place. So here's a good conversation.